I'm on the line just before your call, and I'm going to share an insight with you that I created driving from Connecticut to the Jersey Shore. I visited friends over the weekend in the Jersey Shore. I noticed that people were passing me, and that doesn't normally happen. And I was like, oh, I'm in New Jersey. That's what happens. Unbelievable, which is where I was raised. Now, when people were passing me, I also then, or in that moment, I then began to notice other drivers and possibly their experience of driving, of being on the highway, the Garden State Highway. Like we have a person with the mask on in their car alone, driving. Now, I imagine that person is terrified of COVID, has serious anxiety in their life. I also noticed grandma sitting up on the steering wheel, and I imagine she was terrified as well. There are people in the left lane driving as fast as they feel comfortable in the left lane. There are people passing them. And so there's all these different types of drivers on the highway. And so what I'd like for you to notice is, who are you on the highway? And that you can begin to identify who you are on the highway. Perhaps you're the person who drives in the middle lane, feels most comfortable, or the person who has to be on the right lane, or, whoever you are. So you identify with being on the highway. And then I began to have this experience of being the highway, which is to say, I am all of the different drivers on the highway. I'm not one of them. I'm not the identity driver, but rather I'm the space in which drivers take action. And I began to have this experience of being the space in which all of the drivers operate, which then released me from judgment. Actually, I started to have some compassion for all the different types of drivers and all the different types of experiences. So this insight speaks to space versus identity. And you have an identity, and you live your life from that identity, and that identity discerns who you are, the choices you make, the feelings you have, the job you have, what's possible for you. And that identity is predicated on past experiences, successes and failures. And all of that really is a neural net in your brain, a highway. So to get that you're the space in which the drivers exist means you have the possibility of designing who you choose to be, which is another way of saying releasing yourself from the past, releasing yourself from the identity, and moving into and being and creating who you choose to be. And so I had a wonderful drive with my boys down to the beach and had a great time. Visited friends, the Rossies, an Italian family I grew up with. Just wonderful. Just a great experience. So please consider the possibility of being the space and not the identity. I'll see you on the call in a minute.